Hi everyone, this is the Compass Learning presentation. That good with everybody? Everyone here for the Compass Learning presentation? Okay, good. How many were just at the Google presentation? Good, good, good. Well, this is Kelly Arnold from Compass Learning, and she's going to present twice today, now and in the afternoon. So Kelly, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. All right. I've been coming around and sort of informally saying hi. Hopefully, I didn't scare anyone, but I did want to check in and see, does everyone have a Compass Learning login? You could be a teacher, it can be an admin, or it can be a student. If you don't, I have plenty of demo student logins today, so we are going to be on. If you are wondering what kind of device you need, any device will work. If you have only an iPhone or an iPad, then you may have to download a free app called Puffin Academy, which I can help you with today if you need. But we'll go ahead and get started. So how many people, just show of hands, use Compass Learning in their classroom currently? Oh, great. Okay. So this is not an intro to Compass Learning, okay? Just FYI for those of you, if you're not using it, that's okay. But normally what we use Compass Learning for is tying to your NWA RIT scores, and the students get their personalized learning paths. We are not going to go over that today. That is in another type of training, and really you don't need to be trained much at all for that because it's already set up for your students. But we're not even going to talk about progress monitoring. What we're going to talk about today is how else can you use Compass Learning? How else can you use this resource? Okay, and I'm not going to talk for very long because we're going to give you the opportunity to use it. Okay, the other, on your cards, there's a QR code and there's also a link there, and we are going to use this link today to do a little project. So you're going to do something, you're not going to spend a lot of time listening, it's going to be more of you doing and doing some hands-on stuff today. So if you go to this website, and I shortened the URL here, it's a goo.gl / and it is case sensitive. So it's a capital WG, lowercase b, capital W, 5M. And if you go to that, you should see what's called a Padlet. Has anyone ever heard of a Padlet? I love Padlet. It's a wonderful, just online whiteboard. You can make it in about 2 seconds, and or pin board really, and you can pin anything to it. And that's what I pinned today for you. Lots of different resources. How many people have heard of project-based learning? Okay, it's kind of getting to be an old statement, right? It's in the past, but that happened to be the way that I taught. I taught both 4th and 6th grade. I know that this is a high school group mostly, or 6-12 group. So 6th grade was where I got to in that, and I taught math, but mostly I taught in the style of project-based learning. So students learned as they completed projects, very much like the real world. If you looked at my bio at all, and you know, you're welcome to do that. I have had several lives. I'm like a cat. I worked as an engineer in my previous life, and when I got to my job, I was a great student. I had A scores and everything. I got to my job and I waited for someone to tell me what to do. Right? Where was my worksheet? I was great at that. And so it was very difficult for me, and I started realizing, wow, I wasn't really prepared for this. And so that's why I got really passionate about project-based learning. Project-based learning is not about doing the project at the end. That is a way to do things. That is called doing projects. That is not the same as project-based learning, okay? So you are going to do a project today, and we usually kick off our projects with something called an entry document. And so if you see that there, you can click on it. And turns out there's been, anybody on Twitter? There's been a tweet put out today, well, maybe not today, but yesterday, that Team CFA is having a budget crisis. Did you know? And apparently, we are not going to be able to have you come to conferences anymore unless you submit a very persuasive video. So would anybody like to come next year to Team CFA conference? Yeah? Maybe not. But what we'd like you to do is you're going to create a video in order to convince your administration, and if your administration convince whoever you ask for money, to allow you to come next year. All right? So that's why the hashtag Show Me the Money. And so you are going to have some time today. In fact, you're going to have 40 minutes. And I'm assuming that you're sitting with groups, but what I'm going to ask you to do is set yourselves up in groups of 3. So if you have more than a group of 3 in your table group, perhaps you can combine with some people who only have 1 or whatever, and you're going to create your video. Now, there's only a few guidelines. Notice everything, in order to get something going, we have to have a rubric, right? So if you click on the rubric there, and notice, some of you said you just came from Google, right? Okay, these are Google Docs. So if you click on it, it's kind of jumbled and it looks weird here. So if you click on View Original, that's actually going to give you the original view that you can see. And you can save this. All these resources are available for you to copy and save and use in your own classroom. And so this is how you will be graded, and we will be grading each other today as on our showcase at the end. Okay? So things that we're looking for: does the product make sense? Does it address the driving question? And our driving question is, how can we convince our administrator to send us to Team CFA Conference again? Okay? So very relevant, and there will be prizes. Okay, you will be trying to discuss a budget, so maybe you can think about where, and I know there's people in the room like Peter who could maybe help you with that. So you use all the resources. The product is persuasive, and how might you know about these items? Well, if you look at the Padlet again, guess what? There are resources there. First of all, if you've never made a video, hopefully you know at least your phone makes videos, right? You can just use that straight up. You could also use things like iMovie, or those of you who just came from Google, there is a Google app called WeVideo that you can use. Okay? And there are links here in order for you to save them and use them, or apply them and upload them to your computer. There are also video tutorials on how to use iMovie and WeVideo. And finally, how might you use, what does this all have to do with Compass Learning? Well, guess what? That's your information. And if you look under resources, there is a Google Sheets. And if you click on that, the Google Sheets have a suggested list of codes. These are activity codes that I have picked out that I think are relevant for this activity, for this project, okay? There are codes here about persuasive speech, balancing a checkbook, testing evidence, all kinds of different items. And if you don't know how to use activity codes, well, when you log in as a student, and let me pull up my slide here, it makes it a little bigger. When you log in as a student, there is an activity code finder in the bottom right-hand corner. If you click on that magnifying glass, you can type a code in and hit enter there. Or if you're logged in as a teacher or an administrator, on your dashboard, there's a place right there where there's an activity number, and you can type that in. Make sure that you allow pop-ups. Okay? So that is where you can do some of your research. So I'm not going to talk for very much longer because I'm going to give you an opportunity. What I am going to do is I'm going to get off this stage and stop talking here, and I'm going to be down with you, helping you out, helping you decide. And the reason we have this big room is not because I thought that we would be filling it with our session. The reason for this big room is so that you can spread out. Right? Because if you're making video, if everybody's on top of each other, it's not going to work, right? So we can get to different corners of the room, or you can move out and find a space where you can make a video, okay? And then when you are done, you are going to post it here on this Padlet. All right? Questions about what you're going to do? Anybody nervous? A little bit. Okay. I will be there to come down and help anybody and everybody, whatever you need. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the timer here, and we'll get started. If you need a login, I'll come down as well. All right?
Professional development is expensive, but you can't put a price on student achievement. Here at Team CFA Conference, we get a lot of professional development that allows us to perform better as teachers, which will result in higher student achievement. So join me on the path to success.
All right, let's give him a hand. Good job. All right, let's look at the next one here. Come on. Let's go to the original then. Oh, it's downloading. Okay. Let's try the other one while that one's downloading and see if we can. So the good news is the rest of you, if you're uploading, that would be a good time to get that done. All right, I got one downloaded, it looks like here.
The Team CFA Conference is a fantastic opportunity to celebrate our successes, examine our usage of the core knowledge curriculum, and collaborate with our colleagues on the Team CFA network. But really, it's been a rough year. We really need these 5 days to renew, rejuvenate, and party with some awesome people! Team CFA, show me the money.
All right, let's give her a hand. Woo! Very nice. All right, let's do this one now.
I need to come back to the next conference because I have met wonderful people that will be able to help me become a better educator. Since I'm in a building where I'm the only person that teaches middle school science, I have now met this wonderful lady and have email addresses to be able to get great ideas from.
And I would like to come back to the conference so that I can help new teachers and new schools with their science programs.
All right, let's give them a hand. Good job. All right, did we get anybody else's uploaded? Yes, you can. So to add it to the Padlet, you can actually just click this little plus sign right here. And then if you click on where it says to add an attachment, and then for you all, there should be something where it says upload, and you can upload from your computer or you can upload from your phone. All right. Were there anybody else that happened to get up here in that amount of time? Almost ready? Okay. Well, I want to stop and we'll kind of announce the winners here in a second, based on our rubric again. So we'll go back to that. I think they were all very persuasive, by the way. I would send you all if it were my choice. But let's talk about how did you feel during this time? Any confusion, concern, anxiety? All of the above, right? Well, first of all, I want to say, again, I have done this with other groups, and oftentimes no videos come up, right? People don't get their videos done. So you need to be proud of yourselves for what you accomplish in such a short amount of time. Another thing that we want to talk about, though, is how might this look in your classroom? So this is the scenario. I'm giving you the scenario of what I experienced when I first joined the workforce. It was very, very kind of anxiety-ridden. I was confused. I wasn't sure what to do. Okay? But that's where your students are going to be. And if they never have that skill of taking charge and looking into it. Now, we're talking about 6th through 12th grade. I'm not talking about kinder. I'm going to have a little bit different message for those students, those teachers in the afternoon. However, where this comes in is you can use Compass Learning as your research tool, right? This is something they can go to. Did anyone go to any videos and learn something about persuasive techniques or budgeting or something like that? Exactly. And it took some time, so that's where your time went. That's fine. But you no longer have to necessarily just send students out to the internet where, frankly, there's a lot of misinformation, right? This is a safe source, and you can use those activity codes. And I know that we're running out of time here, so I just want to give an opportunity for you to see how can I find, so you might be asking, how do I find these codes for my students, right? How could I do this? Even if it's not in a Padlet, less confusing, maybe you just want them to go to a certain activity for that day. Okay, notice I was able to get around to all the different tables because I wasn't standing up here giving an hour-long lecture. And you got some more personal attention because those of you who didn't want to go and do your lesson on your own, you could. Okay, so if you log in as a teacher, you will see something called the Curriculum Index. It's under the Content tab. And I apologize, this isn't in your notes or anything, so you may want to write this down. When you go back and log in as a teacher, it's on the Content tab, and then you'll go to Curriculum Index. And under Curriculum Index, you'll have to select a subject and a grade level. And you can also look at this content by 3 different ways. You can look at it with sequences, skills, or standards. Now, I know you all have a different set of standards, so it may not be that helpful for you to look at it by standards, but you can look at it by sequences and see what is associated with the standards that you are applying in that project, in that day, in that week. And as you click on the blue letters, then it starts to pop up and you have codes. And these are where the codes are. The codes are right beside the blue letters. You can click on the letters and preview the assignments. And there are even printables in there. So if they have those little S's, you can click on them and print those out. Okay, so here, there are some options for you. You would not necessarily have to go into all the, if you're not techie, you don't have to go and make a Padlet or make a video, but you can still have students go and view content and give them a list of codes even. You could just post this on your board, wherever you want to do it. And that's a way that you can have them, do some research without just going out into the internet and hoping for the best. All right? So did we get anybody? I know we've got about 5 minutes left. Did we get anybody uploaded? Yep. Okay. Let's look at our last submissions. I'm going to refresh this. Oh, right here, the Powtoon. Oh, look at that. I love Powtoon. All right. Notice I didn't say you had to use one or the other. Oh, I need to copy it, huh? Okay. No, that's okay. Gotcha. Let me put this Powtoon in there. Oh, no. Do I have to log in? I don't remember if I have a Powtoon, let's just do this. Loading awesomeness. Yeah.
So, question 1 is, what are you doing with kids who, like some of us, just don't produce projects at the end of this? How do you evaluate their learning?
So that's a great question. Thank you for asking. One of the things that I did when I was working with the students is I never had only one checkpoint. It wasn't, of course, we only had our short time together. But I would have a checkpoint, something to check each and every session of the day, right? So they had to turn something in at the end of each day. And it could be as simple as a daily log. What did I do today? What am I planning to do tomorrow? What are my questions? Each week they had some sort of benchmark that they had to meet. And each Friday they had what I called formative Fridays, where they had to do a quiz on what they had worked on that week. So there were checkpoints along the way. So even if they didn't get to the final, and honestly with project-based learning, it isn't so much, you hear the trite phrase, right? It's not about the destination, it's about the journey, but it truly is in project-based learning. It's really about, think about now, reflecting back, what did you learn? And does anybody think their video was perfect 100%? No, that's not what it's about. It's about the process and what you learned along the way. Okay, so yes, there was an evaluation at the end, but it was a cumulative over and little chunks along the way. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, this looks wonderful. Do I need to play something? Let's see. Yep. Oh, very nice. Let's give them a hand. All right, so looking at the rubric, and I know we got to finish up here, I am going to look, and first of all, would say everyone did a fantastic job. Why don't you give yourselves a hand, first of all, for just getting through it. And I think that I have to say, just looking at, based on what we talked about and some of the different items, I am going to have to give it to my ladies over here in the corner because I want to yes, you, because they had some perseverance. They worked together very well, especially with their limited technology. They also did something that I don't know if anybody watched any of the little videos that I made that were how to use iMovie and different things, but one of the suggestions I always give when you make movies is to go in in landscape mode. And that's a little tip there. So I'm going to give it to them. Hopefully no one's mad at me about that. Ladies, if you'll come up, I'll give you a prize, and then I'll take any questions. By the way, you can use these videos to try to convince your administrators as much as you want. These ladies are going to take home something that's very important to all conference goers, a little brick of power for them. So let's give them a hand. Any questions before we wrap up and let everyone get ready for lunch? All right, well, I will be around, so feel free to ask me questions in person at lunch or afterwards. I'd love to meet you. Thank you so much.